Oh my gosh! That. What's up everybody, and welcome back to the workshop. Now, in today's video, we are continuing the leather belt and pouches build series. This is part 2. If you guys haven't seen part 1, go ahead and click that right there. It's a pretty cool video. I do lots of leather work and make some pretty wicked custom shotgun shell pouches for skeet and trap shooting. That's what this belt is for. Anywho, what we're going to be working on today is a MOSAIC Damascus belt buckle and leather belt. I went ahead and got our metal welded together, alternating patterns of 15 and 20 and 1084 high carbon steel. For now, let's get the forge fired up, get it nice and hot, and start smashing together some metal. So here's our first forge welded bar. Came out pretty nice. Pattern looks really cool. Now I'm going to explain exactly what I did in that forging process on this here whiteboard. So we had our straight layer Damascus pattern. I then went and re-squared the corners, and that gave us this kind of pattern right here. It's got some waves and whatnot. So now, with this bar, we're going to cut it into 4 different sections and forge weld them together to give us kind of a wavy pattern like that. As you guys can see, this is how it turned out on the actual bar. Looks really neat. So we're going to cut it in 4 sections, stack them vertically, sure, and forge weld those together. We then are going to re-square that, and we'll see what the pattern looks like when we get there. But first, we have to do lots of cleaning, lots of grinding on this bad boy, and with the help of magic, that can be, look at that. We got our 3 pieces cut. I did cut 4, but unfortunately, this one's a little shorter. I didn't have my gauge set exactly right, so here's the comparison. We have 3 pieces cut at this length, and then this little guy that's quite a bit shorter. That's okay. The pattern's still going to look pretty cool. I did a little test etch on all 3 of our pieces. Get them lined up. And that is what those are going to look like, all forge welded together. Got that kind of cool little pattern going on there. So we can go ahead, get these welded together, get our forge hot, and marry them through the flame. Alrighty, so we have the bar nice and squared up and drawn out. I did cut off the end and did a little test etch, and I'm really excited with how it is turning out. If it'll focus on that. Look at that. I think that looks really cool. I'm super stoked. So now what we're going to do is we're going to chop it up into 4 evenly cut pieces. Emphasis on evenly. It's very important. And then we're going to do a 4-way weld. Now what that looks like is just, we have our 1 square here. That's not a very good drawing of a square, but so we have our 1 square like that. We're going to cut it into 4 pieces and forge weld them together in an even bigger square. So we're going to get this cleaned up, cut, and with a little help from editing, that's going to be, oh. And just like that, we have our 4 pieces. Now, I went ahead and numbered them 1 through 4. Let me see if I can. Oh, brother. There we go. We have them numbered 1 through 4. I did a little test etch. I don't know if you'll be able to see that through the numbers. You can kind of see it a little bit. But it's going to look really cool. I think it's going to be like a, I don't really know what to call that. But we can go ahead and get this welded up, get the forge hot, and get these little guys stuck together. Alrighty, we have our 4-way welded bar right here. It's 1 inch by 1 inch by 2.5 inches long. I went ahead and cut off the one end with the rebarb. So we can go ahead and do a test etch in our ferric chloride right here and see what this pattern looks like. Oh my gosh, this is insane. So after that 4-way weld, I'm going to move you over here into some better lighting. Now after the 4-way weld, that is the pattern we have. And I'm super excited with how this is turning out. This is my first attempt at MOSAIC Damascus, and I think this pattern looks wicked. Now all we have to do is cut it in half. We'll restack it so that way we get a little bit more width and length with the pattern. I want the belt buckle to be about 2.5 inches by 1 inch and 3/4. So, like I said, we'll do one more forge weld. But this looks fantastic. And without further ado, we're going to get this bad boy cut, cleaned up, and welded together. We'll get the forge hot, and we'll get cracking on. But you guys already know that process, so we'll do a little more editing magic, and just like that, we have our final forge weld billet stacked up and ready to go into the forge. All we have left to do, get the forge piping hot, and get this bad boy stuck together. again, I let the billet cool down and I cut the end off and I put in some acid. We have a really cool pattern coming along here, as you guys can kind of see. Let's see if it'll focus on it. Maybe. No, it won't. It doesn't want to. You guys can kind of see it there. Anyway, it looks really cool. So our next steps are going to be to cut it off at about a 1/2 inch thick, and then we're going to be doing a lot of mushing it on the face, which I'm a little skeptical about. I really hope that forge weld holds, just to draw it out and actually form the belt buckle. I think 1/2 inch should give me enough material. I might go 3/4 of an inch just to be on the safe side. We can always ground down. We can't, however, add material. So I think I'm going to go with 3/4 of an inch just to give myself some extra material in case we need it. But we're going to throw this bad boy in the good old bandsaw, get it cut, get it hot, and get it profiled. Alright, here is our rough shape. As you can see, some of the welds popped open on the ends. That is okay, and boy am I glad that I cut off extra material, because we have plenty of material on the inside of that to get the actual shape of our belt buckle. So we don't have to worry about that little guy down there. And then there's one that opened up in here. We have plenty of space, plenty of material, so we're going to go ahead and let this cool down in the forge. Have a nice little slow cool down, I suppose, and then get cracking on the grinding, get it shaped and profiled. Alrighty, with the belt buckle now cooled down, we can do lots of rough grinding to get the profile and the faces cleaned up. As I talked about earlier, that blowout right there and that one are no good, but we should have enough material in here that'll work. So, to the grinder we go. Now, I did jump the gun a little bit on cleaning it up. A belt buckle should wrap around the waist, so what I'm going to do is I cleaned up a 2x4 right there, put a little curve in it. I have the forge going, heating it up. I'm going to hammer down on this so that the belt buckle has a natural curve to it. I think that'll add a nice, more comfortable fit to it instead of having it as a straight belt buckle. So we're going to do that now. Now with the curve put in the belt buckle, I think that's going to sit a lot better, be a lot more comfortable on the waist. But we can go ahead and pick up where we left off on the grinder, getting this guy cleaned up, shaped, profiled, and everything else. Alrighty-roo, we now have our belt buckle cleaned up to about 220 grit. Both sides are looking nice. It's got a nice shape to it. I'm really excited with the progress so far. But now we have to start working on the back, getting the hardware welded on and put into place. Here is an example belt buckle. It's got the swivel that attaches to the belt and the stud that clips into the belt. Now for our swivel, I'm going to be using this piece of 1/8 inch rod and this piece of 1/16 inch steel plate. I'm going to be putting the plate over the rod like so, bending it, and so that'll swivel like that. And then we have a 1/4 inch rod for our stud. So without further ado, let's make it happen. So we have our hardware welded on. For the little piece that connects to the belt, instead of using that 1/16 inch steel, I used 2 nuts that I cut in half and then welded those on there, and they work really well. I'm pretty happy with that. We got our stud welded on there. So now we just have to clean up the face with the 220 belt, and then we'll hop over and heat treat this. Now the reason we're going to heat treat it is because that'll really help the pattern have more contrast. You'll be able to see that really cool mosaic pattern a lot better. So without further ado, to the grinder we go. So slight mishap, I did drop it in my quench tank all the way at the bottom, but luckily I had a little magnet stick and we got it out. Everything looks okay. That was a little worrisome there for a second, but you can kind of see some of the pattern popping through there. It is now time to go temper this bad boy, and then we'll clean it up, do some hand sanding, and etch it and reveal this wicked pattern. Our belt buckle has finished tempering. We did 1 temper cycle at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 2 hours. And now we're going to get it nice and shined up in everybody's favorite segment, hand sanding. We have our belt buckle nice and sanded up. We took it to 1000 grit, got it nice and clean with some dish soap, got all any oils or excess gunk off there. It's nice and clean, so we can go ahead into our acid for a nice little bath. Now we will wait 20 minutes, let it have a full cycle, and we'll come back, check on it then. All right, 20 minutes later, we can now see what this looks like. I am so excited to see this reveal. Oh my gosh! I'm gonna neutralize it. Look at that. That looks absolutely crazy. I'm stoked. This is insane. Oh my gosh. This turned out way better than I could have imagined. That is crazy. So with the belt buckle now finished, here's a better look in some better lighting. It looks crazy. I'm so excited. So now all we have to do is make our belt and get this bad boy attached. I am using a pre-cut strip of water buffalo leather. It is a full grain leather. I purchased that off of Weaver Leather Supply. Go check them out. They got tons of fun stuff. But anywho, we're gonna jump into some cool ASMR leather belt making content. With the belt buckle complete and the belt now finished, that's going to take us to the end of this build series, making custom leather pouches, a custom leather belt, and a custom belt buckle. And boy oh boy is that a mouthful. That's what she said. That being said, here are the custom pouches. If you guys didn't see the first video, I made these and hand carved all that leather work into there. That was a super fun project. Definitely learned a lot in that, and I definitely learned a lot making that belt buckle and belt. That is my first MOSAIC, as I've said so many times, but I'm just super stoked that it actually turned out, and there will definitely be some MOSAIC knives coming down the pipeline here soon. I think putting that pattern on a chef knife or a camp knife would be so cool, and I can't wait to try that out. But again, thank you guys so much for following along. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment whatever you want. If you guys liked the video, if you didn't, if you're having a good day, if you're having a bad day, I hope everybody had a safe Halloween and got to spend some time with family or friends or whatever you guys do. I hope you enjoyed it. But that's gonna wrap up today's video, and I will see you guys in the next one.